All right, Randy, thanks for joining us today. Just reminiscing a little bit a while ago about the 1982 Iron Bowl and the 82 Tangerine Bowl. A lot of people think of you as a wishbone quarterback, but they probably don't remember you were the MVP of the Tangerine Bowl.
Wow, that game was a lot of fun. I was a junior, and I think we probably threw more passes in that game than any other game I played in. And fortunately, Coach Crow had a great game plan. We had some great receivers, and it all worked out pretty well. Had a lot of fun. Got to play against Doug Flutie, and kind of cool having Doug Flutie and Bo Jackson both in the game as eventual Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah,
and
And I was watching a little bit of the end of the 82 Iron Bowl. I always remember Coach Dye used to say about Randy Campbell, who I think you were a receiver before he got there, right?
No, I was a quarterback in high school, and I played quarterback at Auburn for 2.5 years, as a backup, and then I got moved to wide receiver for half a season.
Okay.
In 81, but then in the spring I moved back to quarterback, and that's when I won the starting job.
But I always remember him saying Randy Campbell can't run and he can't throw, but he's a winner.
Yeah.
But that pass you threw to Edwards on the sidelines at the end of the Iron Bowl was a pretty good strike.
That was Coach Dye. I've heard Coach Dye say I threw it in a snuff can, and I think what he meant by that was Mike Edwards was covered, and about the only place the ball could be was low and outside, and that's where it ended up. And that was probably the most important pass I ever threw in my whole career, because Alabama had beaten us 9 years in a row, and this was going to be the last drive to have a chance to win the game, and it was 3rd and 14, and wishbone. Most people think that you don't have much of a chance when you're in a predictable passing situation, but we worked on 2-minute offense a lot, and we spread the field when we did that. And, a lot of people don't realize this, but we didn't throw the ball that much in the wishbone. But that last drive against Alabama, there were 15 plays called on that drive, and 8 of them were passes. And 2 of them, there were penalties. So like if you looked up, I guess, the true statistics, it would show 13 plays and maybe 6 passes. But, 2 of them, there were penalties on the plays. But I tease Bo all the time. Not every time I see him, but I tease him all the time. I said, Bo, on 3rd and goal from the 9, I threw the ball to you in the flat. If you had only scored, the Birmingham News would have said, Campbell throws winning touchdown pass to beat Alabama for the first time in 10 years. And I said, you got tackled on the 1-foot line, stole all the glory, and Daniel Moore painted your picture, and you've been famous forever.
Yeah, which is the picture I have behind me here.
Yeah. Of course, I'm just teasing with him when I say that, but it's kind of fun.
Running over Tommy Wilcox.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about this year's Auburn team. I guess the big news lately is the quarterbacks and TJ Finley winning that job. I heard somebody say the other day that a week ago they weren't quite sure that he was going to win the job. But what do you think of TJ? How much has he improved, and how close was that race this year?
I think the race was probably closer than a lot of people realize. I think a lot of people thought when Zach Calzada transferred here that he would be the starter. I mean, it just made sense that you're bringing somebody in from outside I think he started 10 games at Texas A&M, had a great game against Alabama and beat them. And I know he's had some injuries and some other things, but I think one of the reasons that the competition lasted so long is Ashford is a really good athlete. And I think he got better each day, kept making progress. And so the coaches just wanted to see, how far can he progress and can he challenge TJ Finley? I do think that a quarterback can make tremendous progress from one year to the next, but it's not typically in the physical part of the game. Can he throw the ball better than he did at the end of last year? Probably not that much better, but maybe he can process things at the line of scrimmage and after the snap a lot better. And so that is and the result of that would be, higher completion percentage, fewer turnovers, and that mental part of the game. After you've been playing for some period of time, the game slows down a little bit for you, and it's easier to take those mental pictures during the game. And I think that's where he could possibly show a lot of improvement. I know I've heard since he's been here that the players rally behind him. He's a team leader, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
You think it's still a competition? Obviously, that Penn State game is a game that people point to, and maybe a must-win for Auburn and Coach Harsin this year. Is it still a competition going into that game, or you think it's kind of settled?
I think it's settled, but I do think that they would probably play Ashford some, and then from there you don't really know what could happen. But I think the coaches, they want the team to feel like it's settled. They want to go in with a solid choice to start the season. And the Penn State game, it is. I agree with what you say. It feels like such a huge game because it's our biggest non-conference opponent this year. We lost to them in a close game there last year. And, whether we win or lose, it's not going to, I don't think it'll truly dictate the whole season, but it's a lot of people are going to let that happen. The emotional part of that. If we beat Penn State, people are going to be excited and feel like we've got, an opportunity to have a good team. And if we lose to Penn State, they're going to feel negative about it. And it's going to be, a lot harder emotionally to keep people engaged. But it only takes, if we were to lose to Penn State, we beat Missouri and LSU and we're 4-1, all of a sudden they forget about that so much. But heck, I hope we're 5-0 after the LSU game.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the offense this year with Coach Keesaw coming in as the OC, Mike Bobo last year. Do you see any real differences there, or do things kind of stay on the same track?
I don't know that I'm the best person to answer that question. I think, I thought Bobo was a really good selection last year. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I haven't watched Boise State's offense, over the years to see exactly what they were doing. But from what I hear, I have been to practice. I know we're really good at tailback, and we've got a pretty experienced offensive line. And I think probably you'll see us try to run the football more and be a more physical team than maybe we were last year. It would be such a luxury if we can throw the ball when we want to throw it instead of throw it when we have to throw it.
Right.
That's a big help for a quarterback. I remember 1993. I mean, Terry Bowden and Jimbo Fisher, whoever was calling offensive plays and design that. I was on the staff in 92. Mm-hmm. And Stan was a junior. I coached he and Patrick Nix and Clay Helton. And that next year, I felt like they did the best job I'd ever seen of keeping people off balance. Yeah. And it just felt like we always threw it when we wanted to, and we were rarely in situations where we were predictable. So I know our offense won't be that scheme or that style. I just hope the mindset is let's try to throw it when we want to and have, good play action scheme and try to take advantage of these great running backs and excellent offensive line that I think we should have.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if Tommy Bowden was there yet or not. Was he already there at that year?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was there in 92. Yeah. This is his first year. And then Terry kept him when he came in.
Mm-hmm. That was my other position I was heading to, I guess, is offensive line. We lost Nick Brahms at center, but we've got a couple of other guys that new faces, new names maybe that can step in and maybe improve the situation there. Do you think that we can run the football better behind those guys this year?
I think we'll be able to. There's a lot of experience there. They've played in a lot of games, and I think Will Friend's a good offensive line coach. I think he'll have them ready. And Nick Brahms, that's a big loss. I mean, he was a leader and a really good player. So hey, somebody's got to step up.
Yeah. Let's talk about the NIL a little bit. A big topic in college football. I know you've been involved in that for Auburn and the Birmingham area and surrounding areas. Just talk about what you're doing, Randy, and the importance of that for Auburn football in the future.
NIL is probably the biggest, change in years in college football, and the transfer portal is probably right after that. And, there seems to be only 2 or 3 rules. But at the same time, for some reason, there seems to be all this gray area. Nobody really knows what you can and can't do. And so the state of Alabama was one of the earlier states to adopt an NIL law. And then fast forward, when the NCAA came out with some clarifications, it was better, it seemed at the time, for the state of Alabama to repeal the law, which they did. What happened after that was the NCAA, in an asterisk at the end of the page on their updated guidelines, basically said that state law was more important than the NCAA rules. And immediately states like Mississippi, Tennessee, South Carolina, Illinois, who still had NIL laws, started amending those laws so that the athletic departments could be a lot more involved and actually facilitate some of the NIL deals that were going on. And so that put the state of Alabama and all the schools here kind of behind the eight ball. And I've been very interested in NIL. I think it can be a really good thing if it's done right. And gotten involved with Auburn's NIL. My nature, I'm kind of a problem solver. I've been a financial advisor for 31 years, and that's what I feel like I do for my clients, is help them solve problems. And so I look at the NIL from the viewpoint of what's good, what's not so good, how can we make it better? And I know that Auburn, Auburn's athletic department is very conservative and probably would be helped tremendously if we had better legislation. And so I partnered with a major law firm in Birmingham that has a sports law division, and they rewrote a law for the state of Alabama. And we found a legislator that would be happy to sponsor that. And there's been a couple of revisions, and hopefully this law will be presented in February in the session and will be passed. Mm-hmm. And if it is, every school in the state of Alabama would be in a much better position for the athletic departments to be to have some more controls and be more involved in NIL. And I think that would be a very good thing.
Yeah, interesting situation. I know everybody has a lot to learn there, and I always wonder if all of this is sustainable. But I guess we'll find out in the future.
I'm not sure if it is sustainable, but I kind of feel like in the next 3 years, the landscape will change again. I think that players are going to be, receiving compensation in some form or fashion going forward. It just may be different than it is right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, talking about NIL and some of the issues surrounding Auburn, the other big news this week, Alan Green stepping down as athletic director. A lot of talk is circulated maybe around Randy Campbell. Is that something that you might be interested in the future?
Wow. Doug, I love Auburn University. It's one of the most important things in my life, and has been for 43 years since I, got there as a freshman in 1979. And I've got the utmost respect and trust for President Roberts to be able to, have a vision that's best for Auburn and make a selection that's going to take us forward. I will say this: I think that at this point in time, Auburn University really needs somebody that can bring us all together and unite our family again. And I think it probably should be somebody with intimate knowledge of Auburn. And there's several of those people out there. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see what happens.